Reason number 3 of 4 why a trust may be a better estate planning document than a will as your central estate planning document. Hi, I'm OC estate plan lawyer Michael Pevney, and today I'm going to be talking about another reason why a trust may be better for you than a will. And that reason is privacy, or as the British call it, privacy. Anytime somebody dies with a will, or they die without a will or a trust, and that's called intestacy, their estate has to go through probate. Probate is a very expensive and very time-consuming process, and it's also a very public process. After somebody dies with a will, that will has got to be filed in court. After that will is filed in court, that will is open to the public. It's open to prying eyes, and everybody gets to see what's inside that will. Anybody in the public gets to know how much you had, who it's going to, how much they're getting, who gets the house, who gets the ring, and who gets nothing. And there's even a couple famous examples of this. The only reason why we know that these things happened is because the person died with a will and not a trust, and it's completely open to the public. A very, very rich lady some time ago named Leona Helmsley left $12 million for her dog. The dog dies 5 years later, and the dog gets an obituary in the paper. Now, have there been strange, eccentric people that have done strange and eccentric things with their estates? Of course they have, and you can look up, there's all sorts of weird things. A woman demanded to be buried in her Ferrari and stuff like this. But there are probably even weirder and stranger things that have happened out there, and nobody ever found out about it because their estate didn't pass by a will, it passed by a trust, which means that it was totally private. And that's really the big difference here. In contrast to a will being very public and the probate process being very public, a trust is private. A trust is essentially a contract. It's an agreement between the trustor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. The trustor, the person that creates the trust, the trustee, the person that manages and administers the trust, and the beneficiary, the person that benefits from and gets assets from that trust. Now, when a living trust is first created, you, the person that creates the living trust, are usually all three of those people. When you pass away, the person that manages that money becomes the trustee, and of course your beneficiaries are the ones that benefit from your estate. And none of that has to be filed in court. The public doesn't find out about any of that. Whatever things you want passing to people, the public doesn't get to know about. The public doesn't get to find out that maybe you disinherited one of your kids, or that you left the bulk of your estate to a good friend. And furthermore, when the public finds out who gets what and what beneficiaries get what from a will when you go through the probate process, sometimes there are creditors of the beneficiaries out there waiting to pounce on someone that just came into a lot of money. It's almost like when somebody wins the lottery. Sometimes you have more unscrupulous investment advisors trying to get them to give them their money. And of course, with a trust, this doesn't happen. Now, with a trust, one thing that is required to happen when a trust goes from revocable to irrevocable is that letters have to be mailed out and the trust has to be mailed out and disclosed to everybody who would have been the beneficiaries of that person who died if they died without a will. So for example, if you wanted to disinherit a child, not leave them anything after you died, they would have to get a copy of that trust, which essentially starts the clock for a statute of limitations if they wanted to challenge that trust in court. But again, this is a totally private situation between the successor trustee and that beneficiary. Nothing's public. It's not posted in the paper. It's not posted on Facebook, and nobody gets to know. And so that is the third of 4 reasons why a trust may be a better estate planning document for you than a will. Thank you for watching. Once again, this is OC estate plan lawyer Michael Pevney.